crafters, thanks for joining me here in the attic. So pull up a chair, grab your favorite beverage, and we'll get to crafting and memory keeping. We are on day 28 of Fairy Wings and Forgotten Things. If this is your first time here, this is a magical fairy collaboration that is almost over. You still have a little bit of time. If you want to check out all the information in the description box, there's also a complete playlist, and you can come over and find out more about it. It's being hosted in my Facebook group. The link is down in the description box. For everybody that's playing along, it is day 28. Be sure to go over and see Helen today. She is your official fairy guide for today. She will have your official fairy token and your prompt. For Professor Fernscribe, she will be finding the Lullaby Keepers and learning more about the fairy hammock. So let's see what the fairy hammock is today. Fairy hammock, something that hangs, example like a dangle. So let's clear this off and let's start crafting. For my background for this page, I immediately thought about lullaby songs. So I pulled out some music sheets that I want to use. I'm going to just do a little bit of paper tearing so that I can use both of these on both pages. I just want to take this over, and I'm going to do the same thing here. I want to tear this edge just a little bit. And I want to ink this up with Victorian Velvet. It is a really soft pinky purple color. I love this color. And I'm just going to do it right on here, because if I get any on the background here, I won't worry about that, because I actually prefer that a little bit to make it blend in. We are so close to being done with this collaboration, guys. Can't believe it. After today, there is only 2 more. On October 1st, I will come back and do the final flip through. October 1st also starts the collaboration with Stacy over at Crafty Dragon Creations. October Oddities. I will have if you haven't seen the information video on that, go back and check that out. There'll be a complete information video on that. It will be a pretty simple one to follow, so I hope y'all will join in. It's going to be a lot of fun, counting down to Halloween. But I won't be doing daily videos. I'll only be doing weekly. So my October 1st video won't be for October Oddities. It will be the final flip through for this journal and the final story for the final telling of Professor Fernscribe's adventure. Okay. I want to just kind of be thinking about how I'm going to lay out this page and what I'm going to do here. Last time I almost forgot about my information card, so I want to make sure I'm not forgetting that this time. I'm not sure that's where I want it, but we'll start out there. I want to also put some envelopes on here. I've got this one that comes with the kit. I don't think I told y'all, this kit is in my Ko-fi shop. It is called Fairies and Unicorns. And this is one of the ephemera sheets from that kit. And I may, if that information card will fit, I may put that information card in. It will not fit, but I could fold it like it's a letter and it would fit. I think that's what I'm going to do. Alright, I'm going to cut this out. And figure out what else we want to do. And don't forget, the prizes at the end of the month for this will be announced here on my YouTube channel. So check that out to see if you're the winner. There'll be 3 people that win prizes from myself, Ashley at Tea Garden Paper Crafts, and Emily at Emily Designs. I will be doing random generator. So again, it's not the person that does the most entries. Just the more entries you have into the giveaway, the better your chances are for winning. So even if you're catching this at day 28, you still have time to get a few entries in. And who knows, you might be the lucky winner. It's not always the person with the most entries that wins. Okay, I want to do that. I'm going to figure out how I want to do this, because I want that to show. I want this image to show on my page, because I was going to glue my envelopes down. I could glue it down and you still get in the envelope that way. I'll have to think about that. The next thing I want to do is make some envelopes. I'm going to make a few envelopes here with some of the background paper from the kit. So I'm going to grab my envelope punch board. If you don't have an envelope punch board, you could have a template that you print out off the internet. You could use some of your kits and trace your envelopes. You could use pre-done envelopes. So this is a pretty easy project that you could do just with store-bought envelopes. But I want to do an envelope. I want to do 2 sizes for these 2 size cards. So let me measure these really quick, because if you're not familiar with the envelope punch board, you're going to make your envelopes based on your card size. So this card is 1 11/16. And by the way, I got this easy read ruler off Amazon, and I will tell you, it is by far the best investment I have ever made with paper crafting. It has all the little 16th measurements already on there for you. Got some paint on here, I need to get that off. But you can read this so easy. I get so tripped up sometimes on the 16ths and the 1/8 and all that when I give y'all measurements. That's a lot of times why I don't measure. It just, fractions were never easy for me in school. So this little ruler has been a game changer. So I can give y'all measurements now. We've got this one, and I said 11/16, but I think it's actually, now that I'm holding it at the edge, it's 1 3/4 by 2.5. So let's see what we've got here. The smallest one they give you measurements for is this little gift card one. So that's what we're going to do. It's 2 by 3.5 is a gift card one. So that's the smallest one. So we'll do that one. And then we'll do one that's 3 1/16 by 4.5. So let's see. 3 by 4.5 here, because I can trim that off, that little 1/16 of an inch. We'll do that one. So let's see. I need to cut my paper for this one at 5 by 5. And then for the 4.5, I need to cut it at 6.5 by 6.5. So I'm going to go cut those and come back. I've got my 2 papers cut 6.5 by 6.5. And 5 by 5. We'll start with the bigger one because I think that'll be the easiest one for you to see. So for that one, you've got your card's going to be 3 by 4.5. So you cut it at 6.5 by 6.5. And then your score line here is 2 3/4. So what you're going to do is you're going to put this at 2 3/4. Double check my measurement here. 2 3/4. So you're going to go 2 3/4 here. And then you're going to score. And this is easier done with a bone folder type scoring tool, because you want to start right here and you're just going to follow that score track all the way to that notch right there. And then you're going to punch, and then you're going to turn your score line to right here, and you're going to score again. And then do your score line here. Line that up and score again. And then lastly, you're going to score here. And one thing I forgot as I was trying to remember where to score is each time you score, you want to punch. So since I didn't do that, I'm going to line my score lines back up here and punch this again, because that's going to give you your fold lines to make your envelope. Okay, this punch board also lets you round the corners of your envelope right back here. And so now you've got your envelope. I'm going to do that again with the smaller one, because I had almost forgot how to use this punch board. It's been so long. Again, this collaboration has helped me use things I have put away and rarely get out anymore. So I am glad to be using things. So for this one, our card is 2 by 3.5. So our paper size is 5 by 5, and your score line is going to be 2. So you start out at the 2, do your score, and punch, and then rotate. Your score line lined up right there with that little marker, and score again. And punch, rotate, score, punch. And your last rotation, line that up, score, and punch. And so we'll go ahead and round our corners of our envelopes. There are little score boards that you can buy that give you envelope measurements and come with like a little corner rounder and envelope notch punch with it that aren't set up like this board, that are pretty cheap. I think I've seen them at like Hobby Lobby. You can probably get them on Amazon. So if you don't have something like this, you could probably find that and use that. I went ahead and scored this envelope up to. Now we're just going to fold all our folds and make our envelopes. And I'm going to ink these up, and I'm even going to come back in and put some paper in here so that our insides are decorative. When I get these folded, I'll show you kind of what those envelopes that we made with the punch board look like. So basically what you'll do is you'll end up with an envelope just like that. You would glue right here and right here. I'm not going to do that yet because there's a couple of things I want to do, but that's how your envelopes end up getting put together. You can trim that off if you don't want that tab that high up, which I may end up doing. That way whatever's in here will be a little easier to get out, to where if it's a little straight line. So let's see what I want to do now. Had an idea, but I need to decide how I want to do this. If I want to make this, instead of it being an envelope, if I want to make it, if I want to cut that off, because I want this to show. But I wanted to glue it down on the page like that. I could have it where it flipped, but it would still cover. Let's do the insides, cover the insides, and while I'm thinking about that a little bit. Open these up and see what I've got. I printed out some of the pages on sticker paper, so I want to see what I got and just see what I might be able to use to cover these envelopes with and not have to print more. I think that one would work there. So I think I'm going to do that one there. Let's see what I've got here. Might be able to do... No, I don't want to do that. Let's see what else I got here. I think I can do that one there. And let's see if I feel like. And I think this one will give me enough room. If I turn it like that, I can do that one there. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and back the insides of these envelopes. So I want to cut off what I think I'm going to use here, just so I'm not working with so much paper. I think I should still be able to save that little unicorn. Okay. So I'm going to pull this off. And I want to come down in here a little bit because I will be able to see down in this bottom part some. Just going to burnish this down good and then trim that off. And I'm going to do that for all of them and come back. I got the insides lined, and even though you've got the little unicorn here, I won't see that when I get it glued together. Same thing here. That's all you'll see when it's glued together. And then that's the last one. I'm going to go ahead and ink these up. I'm just going to ink them up with that Victorian Velvet. And I want to ink them up before I glue them together because I want to ink this inside piece right here and these corners, just in case you see them a little bit when you fold. I think I am going to go ahead and trim that off a little bit. Just want to cut that right across. See if I can get that straight. Cut it right across like that. Yeah. And that'll give me an envelope like that. And I'm going to end up gluing this down on my page where the envelope opens like that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and ink all these other ones up. I think I've decided for this one, as I started inking it up, I do want to go ahead and cut this flap off. And I may use that somewhere else on the page, but I'm just going to make it to where my information card tucks right into that instead. So I really didn't need to back this one, but that's okay. I had not decided what I wanted to do. Alright, got that done. I'm going to glue that on like that. Alright, let's see how I want to lay these out. I think I want to put this one over here. Kind of like right here. And then my card will fit right in there, like that. And then these, I want to, let's go ahead and glue these together so that they'll be easier to lay on the page. I think I want to lay that one there. Card fits in that. Okay, let's glue these down. Just going to glue right here on my flaps. Okay, same thing here. Glue right on your flaps there. Don't go up in there because you don't need glue. Nothing touches there. And want to, let's see, I think I want to put this one here. That. I'm possibly even going to glue it down to where it is not only an envelope, but it is a pocket. And for this one, I think I want to use this as a header for my page right here. And I am going to make this, I'm going to put a brad right here and glue that brad, take the brad through this, and then glue that down on the page so that this envelope swings. That'll be my prompt to where it's hanging off this piece, because the prompt was something that hangs. Probably should have done that before I glued this in, but I think I'll be okay because I'm going to put these little cards in there. So I've got plenty of room so I can put the brad right straight through that. So let me grab my brads. I think I'm going to use a little silver brad. Grab that out. And grab this. Slide this over. Let's see exactly how I want to have that hanging. I think I want to hang it off. Let's mark this because it's going to be up here like this, and it needs to be away from where my page goes into my book. So I think I want it right there. So we're just going to poke our hole right through both of those and insert my brad. Again, if you were trying to do a card that was completely the size of this envelope, you would have wanted to put your brad, and you didn't want your brad to show, you would have wanted to put your brad in here before you glued your envelope down. I forgot that step. Really had not thought it through, so that's okay. This works for what I'm doing, but if you're doing it a little different, you want to make sure you're doing that first. Okay, first thing I'm going to do before I do anything else is I'm going to go ahead and glue this page down. I'm trying to get these projects finished. But I'm trying not to rush through the last few days. It's a little hard because I know I've got some other stuff I need to be working on. So I just have to remind myself to slow down. Get my little glue eraser and see if I can get that up. If you haven't seen these are little, what they're called, glue erasers. If you get like a smudge of glue, a lot of times you can get it up with these little erasers. Now I want to glue this down here, and then this will swing like that. Okay. ink this up a little bit before I glue that down, because I didn't ink it completely because I cut it off that envelope. Get this glued down. I'm going to stay away from that seam where this page will go into the book. Got some green thread there from somewhere. Not sure where that's from. Alright, now this is going to go right back down here. That leaves me plenty of room for this to swing like that. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. That glued down. Alright, getting close here. I'll go ahead and glue this part of this music sheet down. And I think I'll put this right here. And I do want to make that a pocket and an envelope, so I'm just going to glue the 3 sides. I'm going to grab a couple more Velcro dots to close these envelopes. I used that on the last project. I don't think I showed you how I normally do those. I normally will put it on where I know it needs to be, like right at the tip of my envelope. Then I take the opposite side, put it on there, and then close the envelope, and then that way it's exactly where it needs to be. So let's put another one over here. That's closed there. Remember to close up my glue. Dry it up. Alright, let's see what else we want to do here. I'm going to back these cards, but I want to just kind of put them in and see where I want things to go, so I know what I'm using, so I'll know which ones to back. These little cards are so cute. They came from Nate at Peach Domino Paper Crafts. They were part of his freebies, and I thought the colors went perfectly, and the whimsy also fit well with this kit. So I wanted to use those. Make sure this isn't glued together here. Put my little unicorn in here. And that little, fit like that. Not quite, and close it. So, alright, and that like that. And this one can go right there. And one more in here. So we've got those, got those. Might want to take some of these small ones, pull those back out a second, and use them as a cluster. Let's see what I got. Got a little bird. I like that little butterfly. Let's tuck those 2 in there like that. Like that little butterfly. let's see. I have some mulberry paper that I haven't used yet. Let me see what colors I've got here, because it's kind of soft and would remind me a little bit of a blanket. And I do have a pale pink. Let's see. Because if I did that and backed it to where I'm doing that and backing it, I think that would be pretty. With the mulberry paper, the easiest way to tear that, grab a thing, let me clean this off really quick. I think it's alcohol ink, but just in case it's not. This alcohol ink will clean off your glass mat if you just use some alcohol. I'm not going to do that right now. I just want to show you how to what am I going to do here? I think I want to tear right there, like that, and then do this. Let me kind of mark it where I want it. Grab a pencil if I can find one. Oh, I don't seem to find a pencil, so that's okay. I'll just mark it with my hands. About right there. I'll tear it just a little bit. What is the easiest way to do this mulberry paper is to put a little bit of water on a brush. And you just want to go down the mulberry paper where you want to tear it. And that wets the fibers, and it'll let you tear and have that nice feathery edge for the paper. If you have a little fiber like that, you may have to trim it because it's not going to tear super easy. And then, let's see. Little tear right here, and then that gives that feathery edge that reminds me of a blanket. And I'm going to do just a little bit off the top here. And then I can back my little Lullaby Keepers label just like that. Like that. Okay. Do I want to do this here, or do I just want to have it in the envelope? I think I want to just leave it in the envelope. Just like that. Let's glue this down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to staple this mulberry paper with my tiny attacher right in the middle, because I don't want to glue it all down. I want that to have movement to it to where it looks like a blanket. And then I'll just glue my label right over that staple where you won't see it. Just like that. And I'm going to ink the edges of this card up a little bit. Let's ink our information card up, stamp the numbers, and see what Professor Fernsgrab has to tell us. Right, we're on day 28. 2 more days to go, guys. clean. I think it had some green left on it. Again, like I said, if I don't clean my stamps off right away, they tend to not get cleaned off. So, day 28. Alright, so there we have our lullaby keepers. So let's see what Professor Fernscribe has to tell us today. Day 28, World of the Lullaby Keepers. The Fairy Hammock. Environmental notes. Valleys wrapped in twilight mist. Air filled with soft humming like distant lullabies. Trees bow low, branches strung with silken hammocks that sway gently. Fireflies drift lazily, their glow like tiny candles. Cultural observations. The lullaby keepers appear as a childlike fae, no taller than toddlers, with iridescent gossamer wings. Their laughter is gentle, their speech soft coos and giggles. They are accompanied by childlike animals, unicorn foals with tiny fairy wings, spotted fawns, owlets that sing cradle songs. Together they coax travelers and creatures into gentle rest. Artifact notes. The fairy hammock is woven of moon silk, strong yet impossibly soft. When a sleeper reclines, soothing enchantment wraps them, guarding against nightmares. Hypothesis. Portable nursery woven from the collective dream songs of the keepers and their companions. Narrative encounter. I entered their misty veil to find dozens of hammocks swaying like cradles among the trees. Within them, fey children and winged unicorn foals slept peacefully, watched by keepers who hummed lullabies too soft for waking ears. One beckoned me forward, placing my hand on a hammock no larger than a shawl. Warmth spread through me. A unicorn foal stretched its wings with a sleepy wicker, as if approving the gift. I carried away not fabric alone, but a cradle of trust, a promise that even the weary scholar would never dream alone. And so that's day 28 of Fairy Wings and Forgotten Things. I appreciate all the support that I've gotten here throughout this whole adventure. And we have 2 more days left, so be sure to hit that subscription button and the notification bell and come back and join me for day 29 as we see where Professor Fernscribe heads next. So until next time, y'all take care.